NCAA Tournament Edition. This is Nick, as always, joined by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad, making it all go.
Hey.
And we're starting off with a special guest today, the second baseman for your Niner Gals, Corey Hoffler. What's up, Corey?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we are glad you made some time for us. We know you guys have got a busy week. And Coach Ashley is going to be joining us here a little bit. She'll jump in midstream. But we're starting off with Corey. And I guess the best place to start here is you are already at the field house. You and the gals are hitting the practice field early this morning, yes?
We are, yeah, 11 o'clock.
All right, so we've got some time here to talk to Corey before she has to go get ready for practice. I guess the best and most obvious place to start, Corey, is what was it like hearing your name called selection show Sunday night?
Yeah, I've gotten that question a bunch of times, and all I can do is think back to the past 4 years and just the work that has gone up until this point. And I remember Coach Ash in our very first meeting 4 years ago saying, we're going to get to this point and we're going to win, and we're going to win a lot. And one day this would come. And I think that was the most surreal moment for me, was just it finally happening and thinking back to where we came from and where we are now. And it's just amazing. And I think for sure the seniors is what I think about too, is just that they deserve every bit of it and they deserve to play more. And so, yeah, the season has set us up for this moment, and we're really excited about it.
Now, Corey, we often talk about when we bring players on, we talk about how they got into softball and kind of came up to the ranks. But your story and people that are watching us are probably familiar with it, but there might be some that aren't. Your story is so inspirational. Could you kind of share with us a brief version of just your journey as a person?
Yeah. So I was born in Harrisburg, just 15 minutes up the road. And right around 7 is when things started to get a little less traditional, you would say. Both of my parents were just struggling with alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. And so my mom ended up leaving, but it was me and my brother, and my dad and my brother was a big baseball guy, and he taught me everything that I know. He actually played in college a little bit, but I grew up with him and with my dad, and as things kind of started to get harder, softball was definitely what I went to. It was what saved me a lot of times, is what I'll say. But right around 15, me and my dad, we didn't really have a place to stay. And so I ended up staying with the pastor of my church. And as time went on, they started to kind of figure out what was going on at home. And so I ended up living there, and then ended up becoming a part of their family and was adopted. And that was really, really special for me. And so, throughout all of that was softball. And softball was something that really kept me out of trouble, honestly, and was something that I love to do and got my mind off of everything else that went on at home. So, yeah.
So, at what age do you remember starting to play baseball, softball with your brother? Or
it was probably around 4 or 5. I remember in my house in Harrisburg, which I moved out of when I was 5. And so right around then we started playing. I played t-ball in Harrisburg, and then I just kept going from there. So really early.
So take us from there to how you became a Charlotte 49er in 2019. The new coaching staff and everything.
Yeah, so it's honestly a really cool story. I was actually recruited by the old coaches that were here, and I went to high school with the old coach's son. And so it was kind of a unique way that God put every single person in the path to get me here. And so it was really special. But I went to camps here when I was 9 and 10, and I actually played baseball until I was 13. So I didn't really want to touch a softball, but the coaches here said, you can come to the softball camp for free. And so that's what I did. And then I knew the coaches all throughout high school. I was really late on the recruiting process just because of my life circumstances. Obviously, a lot was going on. And so they gave me an opportunity late. I was the last person in my class, original class, to commit. And they gave me an opportunity, and I was really excited about it. And all I wanted to do was play. And so that's what I did. And I committed here to the old coaches. And then summer before my freshman year is when Coach Ashley and her staff came in. And, you never know with new coaches what it's going to be like, or if they're going to keep you around or want you there. But I kind of went all in, and I wanted to stay close to home anyways. And so I ended up staying, and it was the best decision I've ever made for sure.
So you played baseball, not softball, all the way up to, did you say 13?
I did, yes. Yeah, and middle school is when I switched, like late middle school is when I switched over. But yeah. So
did that, I mean, I'm just remembering, all I have to compare it to is my experience. So like pretty much I know Kevin's laughing because he knows my, he knows all about my athletic career. There's not much to know, Corey. With like boys and girls like played together in T-ball, right? But by the time I was 12 or 13, there were no girls that I played baseball against by the time I was 12 or 13. So you had to be a little bit of an outlier, yes or no?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I played on a travel team for a couple years, and I was the only girl. And sometimes that was cool, and sometimes it was hard, but it was fun. I didn't want to play softball truthfully at the beginning. I loved baseball, and I mean, I looked up to my older brother, so I wanted to be like him.
So there was an observation I had about you that now maybe makes a little more sense. I have thought for a while that when you're at the plate, your batting helmet, you wear a batting helmet a little more like a baseball player than a softball player. They just look different to me. Particularly, a lot of the softball players wear the face mask, and you're kind of raw. You wear a batting helmet. You look more like a baseball player up there. Is that why?
I mean, I think maybe a little bit. The mask always bothered me after I switched over. I feel like it blocked my sight, and so I definitely think I was used to not wearing a mask, and so when I had to use it, I wasn't very for it. And so when I got here and I had the option, I said, "Yep, I will take no mask."
Yeah, that's cool. I had not thought about that, Kevin, but I had that thought in my head that Corey approaches the plate like she's a baseball player. And now maybe that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So was it a hard transition from baseball to softball? I mean, it's a different sport. I mean, balls coming at you from a different angle. You can see rise balls, which I've never seen one, but I hear they're pretty hard to hit. Those major leaguers, when they see those rise balls, and they don't know what to do with them. So talk about that transition from baseball to softball.
Yeah, I think definitely offensively, it was a harder transition. Everyone told me I had a baseball swing and I was too long. And I think sometimes still would probably say that. But yeah, offensively, it was definitely a harder transition. I think defensively, it helped me more than anything. I mean, I had a stronger arm, and I played second base in baseball and then ended up playing shortstop in softball up until last year, as you all know. And so I think defensively it helped me, but offensively it was a harder transition for sure, especially with the different angle that's coming at you.
Kind of interesting that you say that, talking about the swing. One of the things that was being said on the broadcast while you were jacking home runs all over Ruston, Louisiana, was the length in your swing and the full extension that you get on your arms, and you were able to carry the ball out. So that's kind of interesting that we would be talking about that. So it's some of that length in your swing that you had on display in Ruston, I think. So one thing we wanted to talk to you about, and we have a really extensive research staff here, Corey. I don't know if you knew that or not, but our research staff has gone through lots and lots of video and the archives, and they have conclusively told us that of all the players, baseball and softball, we've ever interviewed, you are the only one the only active player we have ever interviewed that's also married. So we wanted to pose the question to you. We always talk to student athletes about the balance between balancing academics and balancing athletics, but you've got a unique perspective, and we wanted to get your take on it between balancing academics, athletics, and married life.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I am a busy person. I like to be busy. And so I think in that sense, I like to have to juggle all the things. But yeah, it's been interesting for sure. I mean, we started dating right before COVID hit. And so season had just been canceled. And so we had a lot of time together and just to get to know each other and know each other's families. And then going into the next season dating, it was kind of like, whoa, this is kind of a big shock because we hadn't been away from each other as much as you are in season. And so I think being married this year, honestly, has been a little bit easier than last year dating in the sense of I get to come home from practice and he's there every single day. And it is hard to be in the mix of everything. And he was also in school this past year. He just graduated with his mechanical engineer degree. And so he's busy and I'm busy. And yeah, it's tough, but it's honestly been really special. And I don't think I'll ever say I should have waited or anything like that. I've really loved it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not only juggling all three, you're excelling at all three. Conference USA All Academic Team this year, I think was at 3.93 GPA, your second straight year on the Conference USA All Academic Team. Recently, you were named to the Conference USA All Tournament Team after this past week. So congratulations on those honors. That those don't come easy.
Yeah, thank you.
So we talked to you briefly. You've got more eligibility left. 1 year remaining. Is that right?
Yeah.
So where do you sit? We obviously know how you perform academically in the classroom because you're taking care of business, but where do you sit as far as your degree and what do you see as your career path as you move forward? Yeah.
So I actually came in as a special education major. That's kind of what I want to do. I'm really passionate about it. And then with my fifth year coming around, usually with education majors that are also athletes, you have to take an extra semester to do your student teaching because you can't do it at the same time. And so whenever COVID happened, I was like, oh, I'll just add a major on and stay around for 5 years and kind of spread them both out. And so that's what kind of ended up happening. I'm technically now a psychology major, which I'll be graduating with in December. And then I'll start my master's in special education in January of my fifth year. And so then I'll finish that after I'm done with softball in the fall.
Cool. Corey, talk a little bit about this team you've seen it from start to finish, from the staff going from coming into 2019, going through COVID, and then the last two seasons finally making it into the NCAA tournament, first time in program history. Talk about the progression of this team that you've seen in your time here.
Yeah, it's been crazy, honestly. I mean, we started out with, I think my first year, we ended up having like 12 or 13 people on the roster at the end of the season, which is crazy. But I think it's really a testament to the coaching staff and the people that they've brought in. And I mean, the people that were already here of Anna and Boo and the culture that they've created coming in. And I think just seeing it grow. I mean, every year, I think we've inched our way up. And even last year, the end to our season of thinking we were possibly going to get in and not, I think it makes right now even sweeter because we know the hurt that we felt last year when we didn't get in. And now we get to feel the victory of being selected. And so I think it's really special. I think it's been a lot of hard work, especially from the coaches. And I've said it before, but I think they work harder than any staff in the country, honestly. And I think that leaks down and makes us also work harder than anyone else. And so we get it from them, and we look up to them and trust them in every single situation. But I do think it's really special to see where we've come from and how much we've grown, and finally getting to the point that Coach Ash said at the beginning was where we're going to get to.
So does the fact that you're about to play in the NCAA tournament, does that seem real yet? Has that sunk in, or are you still kind of sitting with it?
Yeah, I think still kind of sitting with it, honestly. I don't know when it'll sink in. Maybe Friday at 2:30 when we start, it'll get there, but it's definitely still pretty surreal.
So you had a big Conference USA tournament. You had 2 homers against FAU. Looks like you knew the first one was gone. Weren't sure about the second one. Take us through that moment. What was it, Thursday night?
Yeah. So, well, I'm the 9-hole hitter, as you guys know, and so I get the opportunity to see what everyone else is doing up to my at bat. And in my first at bat, I knew that she threw a first pitch down and in to every single batter. Every strike that she threw on the first one was down and in, and so I went up and I knew exactly what I was doing, and that's what I did. And so, yeah, the first one I definitely knew was out. And then the second one was a different pitcher. I mean, I had a plan, but it was mostly to work backside, and that's not really what happened, but it ended up good for me. And yeah, I didn't know the second one was going out, but I'm glad it did.
We are too. That run ended up being very important.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of a dangerous little setup they've got out there, because that's parking lot out beyond that. Yeah. And so I've been to the baseball facility in Ruston and walked past the softball, but spatially, are those cars further away than they look like on TV, or no? Are they right there?
They're probably a little farther away. I mean, I don't think I hit them, but somebody probably could, for sure.
Well, Boo put one out there.
Boo and Cass put one out there too. So yeah.
On TV, it looks like the cars are just like right there.
Yeah, it's probably like 100 feet, not too far.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, Corey, we've enjoyed getting to spend some time with you. We're going to let you go. Let you go get ready for practice, because I feel like today you mentioned the word prior to coming on. You mentioned the word intensity. I think today might be a little intense. So we're going to go let you get prepared for that. And man, we just appreciate you making some time for us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
All right.
Well, good luck, Corey.
Yeah, good luck. We will see. We'll see you on Friday.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Corey Hoffler, everybody. Appreciate her jumping on with us here. So now we're going to turn to our Conference USA Coach of the Year. Last but never ever least, head coach Ashley Chastain. What's up, Coach?
Good morning.
You doing all right?
I'm great. I'm awesome. How are you guys?
We're good. We had a great time talking to Corey. I had no idea that she played baseball that deep into her career.
Yeah,
which is really cool. But all right, let's just start with the obvious. So we were watching on Sunday, and we saw the video from Chris Thomason's house and the celebration. Mm-hmm. So you said from the beginning this was your goal. This was what you were going to do. You were going to the NCAA tournament. Charlotte 49ers were going to the NCAA tournament for the first time in history. And I'll just be darned if you haven't done it. So just walk us through your reaction.
It's a moment I think we'll never forget. And I think everyone in the room, whether it was one of our coaching staff members, one of our administrators, Mike Hill, was there. Chris Thomason and his family were there. We had some external staff people there. Our SID, Bryant Avery, our athletic trainer, Brittany Hoover, our strength coach, Eric McKibben. We had parents there. The winners' parents, Rebecca and Jeremy, Carl and Tiffany Tisdale, Ari Rohde's godparents were there. They're local. So we just had a ton of people there that just surround our program with so much love and support. So it was really just kind of fitting for everyone to be in the same room. And, we felt really good about it. Last year, our resume going into selection wasn't quite as strong as it was this year. And so just with an improved resume and looking at it over the weekend with the coaching staff and comparing our team sheet to who we were around and who we were going to be fighting for one of those few at-large spots for, we felt really good. But at the end of the day, it's a committee of people in a room that make the decision. And so you never know. So we felt really good about it. We were just kind of on pins and needles. I think everyone was a little anxious. I think we were all sweating a little bit. So it was just great to be together. And I can't thank the Thomason family enough for hosting us. We flew back in from the tournament. We actually flew out of, we drove from Ruston to Jackson, Mississippi, and we flew back to Charlotte from Jackson really early Sunday morning. We got back into Charlotte at like 9:30. So we had been home most of the day and everyone kind of went their way, and I'm sure everyone kind of napped. Our flight was at 7 a.m. on Sunday. So everyone kind of showed up refreshed, and we had dinner together and just kind of fellowshipped for a little bit. And then the selection started. And I told the team before the selection show just how proud I was of them. And, no matter what the decision was, the decision couldn't take away the season that they had and the regular season championship and all the milestone wins and, just all of the, cool moments that we had shared together really since August. So the show got started. We kind of knew, or we had an idea of which locations we probably would draw. So every time one came up, that we thought we would possibly be in, kind of feel the room elevate just a little bit. And then here we go, Duke as the 8 seed, and the Niners are going to Durham as the 2 seed. I think, it's a historic moment for us. It's a moment that I'll never forget. Like I said, everyone in the room, I don't think anyone's ever going to forget that moment when our name was called. I was kind of blown away that we were a 2 seed. I don't think I was expecting that necessarily. I thought we probably would be a 3 seed somewhere. But we're thankful and we're ready. And, it's just really cool to see that everything that we've done since 2019 kind of come to fruition up into that moment. And it's not, this team earned it and they deserved it and they worked so hard for it, but this team wouldn't be the team that they are without last year's team and the year before that. So it's been such a build up into that moment and everyone that's been a part of it. And I just couldn't be more grateful to Mike Hill, Chris Thomason, the top all the way down, everyone that's been involved with our program from the start that has made that moment possible, because it's really tough. It's really tough to get an at-large bid. It's really tough to get an at-large bid as a group of 5. It just is what it is. That's just the world we live in. And I just think it's so rewarding for everyone, our coaching staff, our players, to see our goal and our dream come true.
Well, congratulations, Coach. You have a great group, and no one deserves it more than you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's going to be really fun.
Looking forward to it. Do you want to get into last week, Nick, the tournament? You want to talk about the tournament?
Yeah, let's we talk about the tournament a little bit because you guys did get to go back to Ruston. In fact, we talked to you last week. We talked to you guys from the hotel. So you go out and, this is just my take. Well, first of all, I'd like to ask you, I think, about the tournament format. I really had not dug into it as deeply as I would come to think of it once the tournament started. But I don't know how common is the tournament format that Conference USA used, because there was a single elimination round. You guys and UAB had a double bye. There were two other teams that had a single bye. The tournament starts off single elimination, goes back to double elimination, and then finishes with a winner take all championship.
Yeah.
It seems a little, I don't know, discombobulated to me. You tell me,
Yeah.
is that standard format, or is that unusual?
I think it's a little unusual. I've had, I guess, 3 now Conference USA tournaments. In 2020, we had the COVID season, so we didn't get to finish that year. In 21, we went to Western Kentucky. In 22, we went to North Texas. And then this year, obviously, we went to La Tech and Ruston. So I've had 3 experiences with it. It is, I think, unique then across the board. So we've had conversation about the tournament format since I've been in Conference USA as a head coaching with our conference representatives. We've definitely had conversations about the format, changing the format. With us going into the AAC next year, I haven't pushed much to change the format in the conference tournament with Conference USA, just because of us leaving and going into the American, and the American tournament is very different. I think that what risk it is for us, in the situation that we were in, and unfortunately it is exactly kind of what happened. We lost 2 games in the same day to end our tournament. And if you're in play for an at-large bid, losing your last 2 games is never going to look good to the committee making a decision on an at-large bid. So I think it does put anybody that has a good RPI going into selection. It kind of puts them at risk if you lose 2 games there at the end, that your RPI falls significantly to where maybe you lose a spot in the NCAA tournament. So I think going into the AAC, we've talked with that coaching body about how the tournament format is really there to protect the integrity of the RPI for your teams that are fighting for an at-large bid, so that the AAC stays a multi-bid league every year. That's really important to the American. It's really important to the head coaches in the American Conference, is that we protect our multi-bid into the NCAA postseason every single year, and kind of the integrity of the tournament. So that's a little foreshadowing for the American here within the next 12 months, but it is interesting.
How would you fix it?
I probably would just go to a single elimination tournament. Your top, I do like the top 2 teams getting the double bye. That was really nice, going into the tournament, not playing until Thursday. I think that does protect the 1 and 2 seed to some extent. And the 3 and the 4 got a single bye. They didn't have to do the play-in game. So I liked that aspect of it, but I think, maybe a single elimination tournament, it might be a better way to go. Just like I said, when you're in a top conference that has multi teams going into the tournament, it protects their RPI a little bit. After we won on Thursday, our RPI was 29. And then after we lost 2 games on Friday, our RPI fell to 33. So we went from 29 to 33 in one day. And, that's a significant move when you're fighting for an at-large bid, really tight there with selection show on Sunday. So that was a little bit of why we were on pins and needles, I think, going into Sunday night, is we lost 2 games on Friday. So,
yeah. Well, the tournament, it was an intense tournament. I mean, from a fan's perspective, I found myself watching games that we weren't involved in, but I think they had like 9 1 or 2 run games out of the 12 games, and I think we played in 3 of those 1-run games. It was intense. It was intense softball. Every pitch, there was a thin line between winning and losing, and it was as a fan, it was fun to watch. But Thursday night, we started out with FAU. We talked with Corey Hoffler about the 2 homers she hit. She kind of took us through those ABs. Tell us a little bit about Thursday night, and I think Boo hit a homer as well. 4-3 victory over FAU.
Yeah. Well, another one-run game like you spoke about. The atmosphere was really intense. You could feel it. Just if you were a spectator watching the games before you, as a coaching staff, obviously we watched the games that we weren't playing in. So it was kind of an intense atmosphere. The scores were tight. My perspective, I felt like FAU played really well, and I felt like Middle, obviously, from the last game of regular season where they beat North Texas in extras, they rolled that into the tournament. They were really hot at the tournament. They played really well. I thought North Texas played really well, and I thought we played really well for 2 games, the one Thursday and then the first one on Friday. So going into the FAU game, our strategy was, okay, we've got to figure out how to beat Sacco. So Sacco was the pitcher of the year in conference this year. And so that was our whole focus going into the matchup on Thursday, was to figure out how we were going to beat her. We did not hit well off of her in the regular season series, which was our second conference series of the year. So we had to kind of dig up all that information and go back. We talked about that game or that series with the team. We kind of relived it, and we watched film, and then we watched some film of her from later in the year. And to be honest with you, the pitches that she was throwing to us in the regular season series, the second weekend of conference play, to what she was throwing late in the season to her opponents and into the tournament was a little different. So we kind of honed in on that, and we got a really good plan of how to beat what we thought was the pitch that we were going to see, which was what we call a screw, was an inside pitch to righties. Sacco is really good, and she creates an angle to where she almost and even sometimes steps out of the lane to her glove side to throw into a righty. So she's creating this really sharp angle to throw a screw pitch into a right-handed hitter. And so everything we did was to prepare to how to beat that. So we watched her throw the day before. We got a plan together. All that credit goes to Taylor Wyke and how she felt like we were going to be able to beat her. And I thought that the kids really trusted it and they bought into it. And from the first pitch, you could tell that we had it figured out. And so it was really good to see the offense just really execute a great plan at the plate, and we scored. And you could tell no one has really scored 4 runs off of Sacco all year. I think it's happened 1 or 2 other times. And so you could just feel their energy kind of really sink when we scored, and that we looked like we had Sacco figured out. And so we kind of rolled with that. We held that momentum until they took her out of the game. I thought Sam pitched well against their offense. Their offense isn't super high powered. They have a little bit more of short game, a little bit more dynamic lefties in their lineup. So we had a really good plan against everyone in their order, and Sam executed that plan really well. We played great defense, and ultimately it resulted in us winning a tied game 4-3. There for game 1. So it was a great game. I was really proud of the offense specifically for executing our plan off of Sacco, with her being pitcher of the year this year in Conference USA.
I thought that showed up on screen, the way she would kind of shift to the left and create that angle you're talking about. You could really see that happening. So let's talk a little bit about the North Texas game. And you offer some comments on it. Now, the way I think about this is, and you'll have to be, folks listening will have to be old enough to know what I'm talking about. But back in the day, right, the bad boy Pistons had to figure out how to overcome the Boston Celtics to really break through, and then the Chicago Bulls, Jordan's Bulls, had to figure out how to break through against the Pistons to really get their run going. It seems like with where the program is at right now, that North Texas is always what we're up against, because they have such a good program, and they're the folks we're trying to figure out how to break through.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that is a fair analogy?
I do. It's funny you say that because we actually talked about that as a staff. You know, we played North Texas 4 games this year, and we only beat them once. So that's not good statistically, obviously, in your win loss column. I felt like going back to the regular series, we had game 2, and then we lost. We beat ourselves in that second game at North Texas in the series. I mean, we had a runner on first, I think, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, and we ended up not winning the game. And we misplayed a few balls there in the 7th inning. I don't think they hit the ball in the infield, and they ended up winning the game. So it does go down as a loss for us. I think that game specifically, we beat ourselves fundamentally in the bottom of the 7th. So I think about that game a little differently. But overall, I hear what you're saying. North Texas has a ton of great players. They have a great staff. They've had a lot of success as a program. I think they do things really similar to how we do things. They schedule well. So I think there could be a little bit of like almost this intimidation factor. That's kind of what we talked about as a staff. That's how I worded it to the staff after the game. I kind of feel like at times we're intimidated by what they've done and what we're trying to do. I think now that we've broken through to the NCAA tournament and kicked that door down for the first time in program history, I think it will change. But they had been where we wanted to go. And I think we see them as equals, as far as program and talent and like everything that we do. So I think there was a little bit of intimidation factor for us with them this year. And that comes from the locker room, and we can talk a lot about it, and we can talk about, just playing them like we would play anybody else. Our kids weren't intimidated by Virginia Tech. They weren't intimidated by North Carolina. They weren't intimidated by some of these other schools that we've already beaten. But for some reason, it was North Texas playing multiple times. I felt like the kids felt like that a little bit. So it's just something to overcome for the future. They're moving with us into the American Conference, and, we're going to be playing them a lot here moving forward. So it's a great opportunity for us to kind of overcome that and be better when we play them next season. But they have a great team. And Friday's game, we scored first. I think we scored a run in the second and run in the third. I think we were up 2 runs, and they just kind of had some momentum. We were really surprised that they started Savage. We were expecting Peters or Wagner, who were their number 1 and 2. And I think they took the strategy of us maybe not expecting that they started Savage. And I think the bottom of our first ABs, you could tell that we were trying to figure out how we were going to beat Savage because we were surprised that they started her. And then I think we really rattled her, and she lived out of the strike zone enough to where we scored a few runs and they took her out of the game. And then they put Childers in, who's a freshman who hasn't thrown much on paper, but has really good stuff. She throws about 70. She was the one that we struggled really with once she went in the game. And then when the game was tight there at the end, they put Peters in to finish it, which we were prepared for her. So we just couldn't pull it out. I mean, we were tight. I thought that we were really loose going into the game. And then as the game progressed, we just played tight. We didn't play like ourselves. And really that was the theme on Friday. I thought we were just way too tight all day Friday. I told the girls yesterday with practice, we had practice at the Sioux, and I just said, like, hey, going into this weekend in Durham, like, I want you to play super loose and have so much fun and just play like we normally play. I thought in the tournament overall, we were just really tight. You could feel it on Friday. So the goal is to not play like that this weekend.
Coach, talk a little about Sam Gress in that game. I think they came back. They came back from commercial, and they showed her sitting on the ground, which kind of made our hearts stop back home. Talk about her performance coming back from that. I guess it was a cramping issue.
Yeah.
And then finishing off the game.
Yeah, well, it's no joke to anybody that has followed us and watched us play that, Sam Gress was established as our ace throughout the season, and that we pitched her a lot the back third of season. She got the majority of our starts, the majority of our innings, and she was fresh going into the tournament. I mean, we played Sunday. We didn't have to play again until Thursday, so she had multiple days of rest. And we threw a couple really good bullpens through the week. I thought she threw really well against FAU. And then if she was sitting here, she'd tell you the same thing. We've watched it. She just didn't have great stuff on Friday. It was about 100 degrees on the turf down. It was about 90 degrees in Ruston, and then it was about 10 degrees hotter down in the dugout and on the field. And all of our kids were they were sweating more than they had sweat really all year. Sam was just drenched in sweat. She was having trouble gripping the ball, and we were just trying to work through all of that adversity during the game. And then she goes back out, and she started cramping. I think it was her right leg, I believe. But she just kind of cramped all the way down her right leg. So we got her off the field, and our trainer, Brittany, did a great job at, getting the cramp to go away and giving her the electrolytes and all of the things that you give someone that's cramping in the moment. Gave her a little bit of time to sit there and recover from it, and then she was good to go. We just kind of had to wait for it to go away, and we put Elkins in the game at that point. So it was just an unfortunate situation, really nothing that anyone could control, even Sam herself. So we just rolled with it and did the best that we could. But I just think it was a byproduct of how much she was sweating and how hot she was. Our girls had received fluids, and they were hydrated, and they had eaten well for days leading up to Thursday and Friday. So I don't think we could have done anything different to avoid it.
And not to dwell on it. In fact, I'm ready to move on from the conference tournament because we got so much good stuff to talk about. But every year, every tournament, somebody catches lightning in a bottle and gets it going. Mm-hmm. This year it was Middle Tennessee. And they rode it past us and all the way through North Texas and all the way to the title. And they're going to the NCAA tournament as well. So Conference USA in its current configuration is ending as a multi-bid league. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, in the end, Middle Tennessee just played the hot hand, and like I said, they rode it all the way to the championship. So that's just one of those deals.
Yeah, I agree. I thought they played really well that last week of season, and it happens all across the country in the conference tournament. You see a team that gets hot, they play really well, and they end up making a run at the championship or winning the championship and upsetting a higher seed. I mean, you saw it in the SEC tournament this past week with South Carolina. They went in as the 10 seed, and then they ended up competing with Tennessee as the 1 seed for the championship. Now, Tennessee beat them in the championship game, but they made a run at it, and definitely have to believe it affected the committee putting them into the tournament. So it happens. Congrats to Middle Tennessee. We here at Charlotte, we're not sore losers, and they played really well. They deserve to win the tournament the way they played at the tournament. I mean, they were hard to get out of the plate, as you could see. I feel like we threw them every pitch possible and every zone. I mean, they were just going to figure it out. So, they earned it. They earned their way in. But we ultimately earned the at-large bid, and that's why we do what we do and design the schedule that we design. Because if we just took the method of, hey, winning the tournament is the only way that we can get into the NCAA tournament, for me personally, I don't think that is a good way to build your program. I think you want to give your program a chance to make the NCAA tournament every single year based on your body of work and your team sheet and your RPI. So, we've now been rewarded for the way that we scheduled and the way that we performed on that schedule since February. So just really proud of that. I mean, it's going to be a historic weekend for the program. I've been asked a couple of times over the past few days about going to Duke, like how I feel about that and the teams that are there. I couldn't be more excited about going to Durham. And I think we play Duke a lot. We play them every fall. We play them every spring. We go to their place. They come down to here. We've played really close games with them. We beat them in the fall exhibition game at their place. And then we lost to them here at the Sioux. I believe it was extra innings, and they actually beat us last year in extra innings as well. So, it's familiar. We've won on their field. We know their players. We know their pitching staff, and they know ours too. So it goes both ways. You know, we get another shot at Campbell, which I love. We went 12 innings with Campbell early in the year. I think it was the first weekend, I believe. I think it was the first weekend.
Yes.
We went 12 innings with Campbell and ended up losing that game to them after 12 innings of work. So I'm excited to get another shot at them. You know, they compete in the Big South and they won their tournament. So they got their automatic qualifier for the Big South. We have not played George Mason, so they're a new opponent for us. So if we see them this weekend, we'll be prepared for them. They won the A10, so they're their automatic qualifier from the A10 tournament. So it's just familiar, and I love the fact that it's so close. You know, it's less than 2 hours up the road, and I think that we're going to have a ton of fans, a ton of family. We've already been working on our ticket list, and just the amount of people and the amount of support and love that people are going to show us on Friday at 2:30 by going to Durham. It just means so much to us to almost feel like we're going to have a home crowd advantage because we're going to have so many Niners in the stands. So I think it's perfect. You know, everything about it I love, and I can't wait to get up there and you know, start working towards that first pitch up on Friday.
Yeah, as usual, Coach, you provide great segues. One of these days, we're just, I don't know, Kevin and I we don't even need to be here. We just turn the thing on and let you go. We do need to get you to practice. We have about 10 minutes left. We've got a bunch of awards, and we can't let it go without mentioning them. Kevin, why don't you got lists there? Why don't you kind of walk us through all the hardware that the Niner gals racked up?
All right. Well, first, all freshman team: Lexi Winters, Lena Elkins, Savannah Wynn made the all freshman team for Conference USA. All first team: Sam Gress, Cass Crupitt, Bailey Vanoy, and Ashley Washington on first team all Conference USA. And then newcomer of the year, the Sassy Pony, Sam Gress. And then we had some academic awards as well. We had Sam Gress with all academic team is going along with Corey Hoffler. Let's see. I need to mention their GPAs. We saw Corey Hoffler GPA of 3.93, majored in special education, and Sam Gress, health systems major, had a 4.0 GPA during her time at Charlotte. That's pretty impressive. So getting it done in the classroom and on the field.
Yeah. I couldn't be obviously more proud of them. I keep saying that, but you know, they deserve the recognition and the accomplishments, and it's really cool to see them get recognized for how hard they work. You know, we're losing, you know, this team, after this team's story is closed and this book is done on this team and this chapter of the program, we are losing a lot of talent, a lot of leadership, a lot of kids that have been in the program for years that have played a lot for us. So right now we're just celebrating that and just going to give it our best shot this weekend to make it to a super regional for the first time in program history. That is now our focus and our goal. But on the other hand, as a coaching staff, and, you know, the future is exciting. You look to see when you get freshmen that get all freshman team that get recognition, you know, it just kind of gives you comfort and peace of mind of knowing that those kids are doing the right things and they're seeing their success on the field and off the field. And so there's young leadership, there's young talent being built and grown in the program that's going to channel up to replace someone that steps out of the program, a Bailey Vanoy, Cass Crupitt. So, you know, I was so happy for our three freshmen, Lexi, Savannah, and Lena, that got recognized on the all freshman team. You know, those guys have big careers and big futures here as a Niner. And, you know, our group of freshmen that come in next year, it'll be exciting to see them add to the program and everything that they're going to set out to do. So I love the fact that we had three freshmen on the all freshman team. I was really pumped for Ashley Washington to get first team. You know, she stepped into that DP role in the leadoff spot in the lineup the second week of season in Athens. And, you know, she's just held that spot all year for us. She's been kind of the anchor at the top of our order. You know, she hits right in front of Cass and Bailey, and to see her get recognized for the first time in the conference, you know, she deserved it. I mean, she was the best DP in the conference this year, you know, and to have her returning offensively and to have even a better year next year for us. I mean, that's really exciting. So the future is bright, and, just couldn't be happier for Sam Grass and everything she's done this year. Corey Hoffler that you spoke to earlier is just, she is the heart of our team in every way, shape, or form, inside the locker room, on the field, off the field, every aspect of the program. She's the glue in the heart of the team. And anytime her name gets called, it just makes my heart so happy, because no one works harder than her. So, it's cool to celebrate the moments now, and then it's cool to see that the future is going to be even better than it is now, which is crazy to think about.
All right, Coach. I gotta address this.
Okay.
You know what I'm going to talk about. I've calmed down, by the way. I've calmed down a lot in the last week. But with awards, okay, they can be subjective, right? I mean,
yeah.
For example, I introduced you as our pick for Conference Coach of the Year. That award went to UAB's head coach, and congratulations to him. If you want to award subjectively, if you want to award him the award Coach of the Year for the way he's rebuilding that program, that's cool. But that's a subjective kind of call to make. However, I don't think all these awards are that subjective. And in no way am I about to say anything to take away from the year that the Conference Player of the Year, Sierra Frazier, had. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sierra Frazier didn't do anything wrong. Let me just start by saying that. She had a heck of a season, and she's had a heck of a career. So I am in no way disparaging Sierra Frazier in any way, shape, or form. I want to be clear about that. But I want to ask the coaches of Conference USA, and they're all probably watching. I mean, all but two of you are at home anyway. What were y'all looking at? What was anybody looking at when they did not vote Argyle Cass Crumpet Conference Player of the Year? Because there is no, I have seen debate online, but I have yet to see anyone bring me data that suggests that Cass Crumpet is not Conference Player of the Year. Bear with me for a moment, Coach. Producer Brad, can you get me? I did the math, okay? Overall stats, Cass, every single category. When you go to conference-only stats, Producer Brad, it gets worse. I mean, we're talking 100 points in average, 100 points plus in OBP, 300 points in OPS, home runs, RBIs, total bases, anything. Our girl Cass Crumpet is Conference USA Player of the Year. End of story. End of rant.
Yeah. It's one of those.
I told you, I had a week to calm down.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have too. I think we were, just to be transparent, I think we were shocked. We were surprised as well. I think the pitcher of the year, obviously we had hoped that Sam had gotten it. It was a little bit tighter of a competition between Sacco and, a couple of the pitchers with Grass kind of neck to neck. So we weren't sure how that one was going to go. With the player of the year, we thought it was a clear, if you just go by the stats and just go through it like you just showed, we thought it was a very clear picture that Cass had earned player of the year. So we've also had a week to calm down and kind of come off our emotions on that. We were obviously very upset for her. And, and like you said, like, it doesn't take away anything from Sierra Frazier. She's had an amazing career in Conference USA. She's been at UAB now for 4 full years and had a stellar career. She's really battled it out the past couple of years, especially 2 years ago with Bailey for Player of the Year. And they actually stayed in our same hotel. UAB stayed at our hotel in Ruston. And I saw Sierra Frazier and her parents in the lobby. And, I congratulated her and just told her how awesome of a career she'd had. And, congratulations on Player of the Year. And she was very thankful and just really excited about it. I think it doesn't take anything away from her. Statistically, I will never understand how Cass didn't win it. And that's my stance. I don't understand how Cass didn't get it. Because Cass plays for our program, I'm not allowed to vote for Cass. Sure. I was not allowed to vote for own players in the standings for any of the superlative awards. So, it's just one of those things that, again, I'm never going to understand it. I think Cass was clearly the best player in our conference this year, statistically, non-conference and conference. Doesn't mean that Sierra Fraser wasn't a great player and didn't have a great year, but I do think Cass's numbers overall are better. So congrats to her. As far as the voting aspect of it, I have to believe it was probably really tight, and it came down to probably a couple points here and there. So we'll never know. But I think, Cass was a little bit upset about it, to be honest with you. We really talked to her about that last week when we were at the tournament. And, Cass did not have a great weekend, playing Thursday and Friday. And I don't know if her emotions of that really attributed to how she performed. She's been so consistent for us all year. And I thought she, like much of our team, was just a little tight at the plate, other than when we faced Sacco on Thursday. So Cass kind of came to me yesterday at practice, and she's like, I'm going to get after it this week. I think just with being gifted another week of playing softball, I think Cass is going to be really good for us this weekend and kind of get back to being herself on defense and on offense. So yeah, I mean, congrats to Frazier and congrats to AJ at UAB. He did a great job this year with his team, from where they were to where they are right now. And it's just kudos to them, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Again, taking nothing away from Frazier at all.
Right.
But I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, I feel like aren't you proud of me, Kevin?
I'm very proud of you, man. That was a lot better than I thought it was going to go. So,
well, I told Kevin, we discussed this last week, that I was going to come on here and refer to the coaches that voted this way as a bunch of ass clowns. And I didn't do that.
All right.
I didn't call them that. So I feel like I got out of that without calling them that. So,
well,
Kevin,
I'm glad you're growing. I'm proud of you.
You did a great job.
You're growing.
I'm growing.
Coach, as a Durham native, you don't hear people say they're excited to go to Durham much, but I'm excited that everyone is getting ready. All their focus is on Durham this week, and we can't wait to go see you guys tomorrow. Friday.
Friday at 2:30.
Friday at 2:30. Yep.
Well,
all right,
thank you.
Coach.
We're excited for everyone to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We got to get you off to practice to get the gals ready. We appreciate you coming on with us here. We're doing this a little different time than we normally do, so we had to make some accommodations. We appreciate Corey and Coach Ashley coming on. So that's all we've got for you this week. Next time we're talking to you, we'll be talking about the trip to the Super Regionals. Is what I'm going to go with. We appreciate you tuning in to the Diamond Niner Gals podcast. If you're enjoying the content, think about subscribing to the YouTube channel and turning on notifications. Also find us on Spotify. Find Diamond Niner Report all over social media at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just not TikTok. Reach out. We love hearing from you folks. Or if you're old-fashioned like us, just say hello when you see us in Durham on Friday. For Kevin, for producer Brad, for Coach Ashley Chastain, this is Nick saying, hey, we'll see you at the NCAA tournament.
See you in Durham.